Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to National Matters. I am your host, Pastor Moses Chiluba. Now, as you are aware that Zambia is at a time when it can redeem itself or it can slump into defeat, but we have chosen to rise above any situation that perplexes people. In the studio with me, I have a man that is not new on the market. I have Mr. Bernard Chiwala. Because of the Camnet TV viewers, you've got to know him. And Mr. Chiwala, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Pastor Chiluba.
How is your day, or how was your day?
The day was profitable, busy with a lot of things to do. Yeah.
Out there, Mr. Chiwala, people may not know who is Mr. Chiwala. Look into that camera and tell the nation about Mr. Chiwala.
My name's Engineer Bernard Mwape Chiwala. I was born 54 years ago to a family of Mr. and Mrs. Chiwala in Mufulira. My father was a miner. We were a big family, about 10, and I was the sixth born. We are now 6. So I grew up in Mufulira, a small town on the Koba Belt. It was known for sulfur dioxide. We used to call it Center.
Yes,
Yes, yes.
yes.
So that's where I grew up and started school there at a primary school called Tangata Primary School. Secondary school, I went to Mufulira High School. Then in 1984, my father had just retired and he was going back to the village to settle there, because that was what was happening that time. I had just written my grade 10 exams, and I didn't know what was going to happen because my father had retired and was going to the village in Chinsali. When my results came out, I just saw a letter that came from ZCCM that they had offered me a scholarship to go and study at Mpelembe Secondary School in grade 12. They had just opened a year earlier. So that's how I got support to go into Form 4 at Mpelembe Secondary School. And it was an idea that the government of the day and ZCCM had formulated. They were picking students from across Zambia. What amazed me was that, how did they find me? But later, I discovered they just used to go to the examination council and find students whose grades were good enough, and they were able to give a scholarship. Without that scholarship, today, I would be in Chinsali chasing rabbits.
There are no rabbits, Chiwala. I'm a rabbit, Yasangwa Buchpat. You would be killing monkeys.
I would be killing monkeys.
No, Fimbo.
Yeah. So that gave me an opportunity to do Form 4 and Form 5 at Mpelembe. And in grade 11 of that time, I found very brilliant students who came from other schools. And there was serious competition. So I finished in Mpelembe, and we were hoping to do Form 6 at Mpelembe, because Mpelembe was offering Form 6 to students so that they could go and start engineering abroad. They were being given scholarship Form 6. So I was invited to go and attend an aptitude test, which they were giving. And they invited many pupils across the country. And the premise of you to go to Form 6, you had to pass that aptitude test. So we sat for it, and when they came to announce the names, we were looking for 50 students. And for me, being a former student of Mpelembe, I was telling others, for informality. I think it's a pride of being a young boy and you had been passing in school. So when they counted the number up to 50, my name wasn't there. it was the very first time I was facing what I termed failure, and I couldn't handle it. Because previously from grade 1, I would pass number 1 or number 2, but usually it was number 1. I, for 2 weeks, ran away from home and went to Kabwe because I couldn't face my parents.
That's a good one.
I was so devastated. I didn't know how to handle failure. In fact, as I've grown up, I now understand that one of the key things we need to teach our children is empower them with skills and capacity to handle the setbacks of life. Success is easy. But if you can train them to learn how to handle that, then you are training them for life. I was never equipped.
I normally say when I'm preaching, Mr. Chwala, that people easily handle promotion, but demotion, they go into depression, most of them. If you are appointed PS, you are appointed minister, it's glamorous. But once you are removed, it's there where people normally hide, like you ran away from. Yes, Mr. Chwala.
So after that episode, I now had the opportunity to apply to the University of Zambia. And I was admitted in the School of Natural Sciences. So at the University of Zambia, I studied civil engineering and graduated in 1991. And at that time, from fourth year, Zambia Railroads came and picked us. So when we finished, we already had a job with 10 other colleagues. And they gave us a lot of good incentives when we moved to railways in 1991. And it was in 1991 in Kabwe where I first met my wife. She also used to work for railways.
Wow.
And 3 years down the line, we got married. And we've been together now 26 years.
How many children?
We have total 6. 2 of them adopted and 4 girls. And 5 of them are about entering university, 2 are already in university. The last one is one who's in grade 8. She wants to study mechanical engineering. She's pushing.
Now, Mr. Chwala, you, from Zambia Railways, you worked for RDA.
From Zambia Railways, I moved to the Ministry of Energy and Water Development in 1993. This was just a few years after the reform of 1991, when we had the multi-party changeover, and the MMD came into power, and there was great excitement about the reforms that were taking place in the country, in the water sector, in local government, in commerce, and new laws and privatization, and all those things, export issues for Zambia. So we were in the Ministry of Energy, and they were carrying out reforms. And one of the key reforms was the transformation of the water industry. As you know, before the water companies were set up, councils used to run water services. So we participated in formulating the National Water Policy of 1994, which paved the way for the transformation of the water industry, leading to the creation of private water companies that are run by the councils. So it was a joy to be part of that transformative period of coming with policy and the legislation that was passed in 1997, leading to the creation of the National Water Supply and Sanitation Council as the regulator of the water industry. So we were part of the formative stage. And I must say that we had a great PS. PS Sampa was then running the ministry. And also, there were also reforms in the energy sector, which led to the creation of the Energy Regulation Board. So these reforms paved way and prepared Zambia for this private sector participation. So water companies were set up, and the idea was to commercialize utilities so that they can become self-financing. So that was part of what we participated in, and it was exciting. Being part of those formative years.
The reason why I'm asking Mr. Chwala some people don't know that you were the CEO of RDA. At what, when did you join RDA?
I joined RDA in 2011. And I did attend interview in January of 2011. And as I understand, I wasn't picked, but I was the best student. I mean, the best candidate. Whatever happened within the system. And during the interviews, I did tell the committee that was recruiting that we were going to transform the road sector in Zambia. And primarily, the key thing I mentioned to them that we were going to do was the financing of the road sector. I did mention to them that the road sector is well placed to be self-financing, and that we were going to introduce targets. And that we'll structure this so that we'll be able to make so much money that this nation will literally be paved. We will have targets and raise money from targets and finance, and we'll have good roads, well maintained, because we needed a sustainable financing mechanism that's not dependent on the treasury, but that is financed by the road users. What they say, the road user pay principle. So I wasn't picked for the CEO job, but the committee were quite happy with the things I was suggesting we could do. So months later, they called me, would you be interested to head the commercial and technical department of RDA? That's probably 8 months down the line. I said, fine, I could come. So I went, and we began formulating the National Road Touring Plan. And at that time, the previous government, because now there was a PF government, the previous government had signed a contract with a South African company that was going to formulate a plan so that these toll gates and toll management could be passed on to foreign companies. We prepared a position paper which we gave to the Secretary of the Treasury, Mr. Fred Sonyamba, and said, what is about toll gates? We are already doing it at the airport. It's just a boom. And then you do the tariff design and people pay and move, you get the money, finance the road maintenance. For me, there's nothing complicated. And that's how the contract was terminated. And we were warned and told, are you able to do this sort of thing? I mentioned to the Secretary of the Treasury, this is a simple assignment. We are going to do it. And we set a plan. And in 2013, targets were launched. And I've seen from the numbers they announced, they are making steady progress in terms of the resources being generated. The initial plan we formulated, if all the targets were constructed as per initial plan, this nation was to be raising every year, annually, no less than $200 million. Not from the treasury, but from the road users. The implication of that was that that money was going to serve as our collateral to even issue the road bond, so that we can raise financing from the international market, which is cheaper, and do all the roads, particularly the ones that links between provinces. So that's what we did, and I'm hopeful that one day it will happen. And then we also formulated what was then known as the Link Zambia 8000. And the idea of that Link Zambia 8000 project was intended to reduce the travel times between provinces, between districts. I'll give you one example. If you are coming from Nakonde and going to Chama before this Link Zambia project, you would have to come to Lusaka, you go to Chipata, and then you start going up to Chama, 1,500 kilometers.
1,500?
Yes. So you go around like this.
From Nakonde?
Yeah. And that's how we used to do it. So when we looked at it, we said, doesn't make sense. At Chinsali, there was a gravel road from Chinsali to Chama, which is just about 140 kilometers. So I asked the question, Why would you go 1,500 kilometers? Maintenance costs for the vehicle, fuel, and all these things. It was wastage.
Including strength, because
Yes.
to drive 1,500 kilometers.
When you can do 140 kilometers. The only hindrance was a bridge on Luangwa, which we can design as engineers. So that's how we started that road. In fact, it was one of the early roads that we began so that we could link there. I'll give you another example. If you are going from Lusaka to Kasempa, you will have to go through Chingola, Solwezi to Kasempa. However, you can pass through Mumbwa and shorten that distance by 400 kilometers. So you cut. That was the reasoning behind the Link Zambia project, so that we can link Zambia and able to open up the agricultural regions of this country and be able to grow things and then export outside of Zambia. So that was what we did at RDA. And I left RDA 5 years ago.
You left 5 years ago. Now, you are not working for any company, right?
No, I'm with Camco. Camco is a Chinese company. They produce and manufacture construction equipment and also agricultural machinery equipment. So that's why I'm the director of marketing and sales. So some of the things we are making here, other things we import out of China. And Camco is an important machinery and equipment company for me in terms of agriculture mechanization, which is at the very bottom of my heart. We need technology to mechanize in agriculture, not what we've been doing using a hoe. No. In fact, the people that design a hoe don't even know that it exists. Because it's not a technology that you use that will make you produce things in terms of efficiency, effectiveness, and also raising productivity. So Camco has several machines from tractors, machine for making cooking oil. And some of those machines you can use to produce peanut butter and several other things. So these can use and help industrialize Zambia. So it's a great company in terms of technology available.
Tonight, Mr. Chiwara, I want us to discuss about our nation, Zambia. I am very passionate about this great nation. When I hear stories, my wife and I were privileged to live with a family in Canada. And this man, Dr. Mwako, moved from Japan into Canada, very highly placed academically for the two nations, but Canada got him. And he said, you know, Pastor, I'm from Ghana. When I look at the way we treat land as Africans, and I look at Japan,
Yes.
if for some reasons God said, let the Japanese come to Africa, and Africans go to Japan, Japan would be far much richer than it is. But we don't know how to use land. What is your position on that?
You're on point, Pastor Chiluba. What we have, the greatest asset we have, besides the human capital, is land. And this nation is so endowed. I've been involved with the Engineering Institution of Zambia. I served as its president from 2012 to 2016. In 2015, we did a paper which we presented to the government, what we called the National Transformation Strategy. We were able to map Zambia and show what we have where and what we must do. There's no reason for this country to be importing fertilizer, for example. There's no reason for this country to be importing fish. We can mechanize. I think what is needed is a deep engagement with engineers to be given a voice so that we can demonstrate what we can do.
Why are you just talking about engineers? Don't you think this nation needs the pastors also? Why are you just talking about your area? But let's go ahead.
We need everyone.
We need everyone, yeah.
From all walks of life. But specifically why I'm mentioning engineers. Engineers are creators. They are trained to make things. And one of the greatest inventions from my perspective of all times is the invention of a motor. In fact, when the University of Zambia Executive Committee, led by the Professor, Vice Chancellor there, Professor Lukumumba, visited us at Moraa Gardens to see what we are doing with Hass avocados in terms of value addition we are doing at Moraa Gardens. I mentioned to them that our curriculum must change so that we pay particular attention, particularly for mechanical engineers, on what a motor is and what a motor can do. A motor drives power. I have here in front of us chili sauce that we make at Moraa Gardens, we process. The driving force behind that is a motor to blend it. You want to make peanut butter. Mechanically, it's a motor, so that you create a bigger blender that is able to use power and compress it. In like manner, you want to make cooking oil. What do you need? Simple again, it's a motor. So we have extruders and we have all these things that are compressing it, so that you are able to get your cooking oil out of it from sunflower, from groundnuts, from even also from avocados, which is one of the things we are doing. And at the core of all this technology is a motor. So for me, we need to pay particular attention as an engineer, that we teach people how to practically use this technology to change lives. Not just the higher mathematics we learn. That won't help. We need a training that is able to change our lives. I'll tell you one thing that has made me look foolish as an engineer. When we were in grade school, 11 and 12, in chemistry, we did some experiments in biology on how to make soap. And soap, as you know, is a product of two things, an alkaline and an oil. When you mix the two, the end product is soap. And we got good grades and passed, and that was it. And we are content buying soap from the shops when we can make it. It's that simple. So the point I'm making is that our training, our education system must translate into the transformation of people's lives to make our lives better. Not just answering things like what's the longest river in Africa. It doesn't help you. What is the deepest ocean? It doesn't help you. No. And those are the information we're given. Studying about Prairie provinces and Saskatchewan.
Who was the first president of Tanzania?
It doesn't help you. History has its place. But in terms of transforming a nation, we need programs that change lives.
Welcome, the TV viewers. That is Mr. Bernard Chiwala, an engineer. You've come to know him, and some of you are friends and colleagues to him. But tonight, we are in the studio to discuss stuff. Like he rightly said, what you learn in school and the practical side of life are two different things.
Yes.
And you see, what I've noticed, Mr. Chiwala, most of the time our parents will say, go to school so that you become comfortable. I don't know how many times I've given this example, but I'll bring it again. When we were growing up at Broadway Primary School, there were 5 streams, grade 1 to 7. And when you pass in grade 1 or even up to 7, they will say number 1 in grade A is this one. Number 2 up to that. So they would also compile from number 1 overall to 240. So they used to compile that. I had a friend, Mr. Chiwala. He was always number 40 in our class. Only once he came to 39 because one of our friends was sick. And when he came to 39, we normally joke with our friends. The whole school knew. And he went everywhere. Just one student who was sick. And when they compile from 1 to the 240, he was always 240. Now, in our same class, there was this young man, still alive. He was always number 1. And when they compile, he was number 2, number 3, thereabout. So, as life would have it, I was blessed as well that I wasn't passing beyond 10 or 5 there. Now, I'm talking about this guy, Owanshu Piresana, na kakamwaka kuchipata, akamunandi. We became friends because I could not understand why he was always at number 2. So we became friends and best of friends, and our children got to know us. The point is, this man who was always number 1, when we finished school, he had a stationery shop in town, here in Lusaka. That man was always passing number 40 and 240, Mr. Chiwala. From my knowledge, and all the people who were at Broadway, they will tell you that I think he was the wealthiest person. He became so wealthy that he had contracts with the mines. He had this. He went to be with the Lord, may he so rest in peace. He left houses in Roma. He left houses in Chilenje. He was always number 40. But when it came to brains, counting money, he would say, Chiluba, nalishwa kupenda boy, muntu tete anjibi. Echo ndefu afya nindala mapatepo, nalishwa, ishifumomu. But he was just a genius of a man. All his children were educated overseas. All his children. So what would you say to that, Mr. Chiwala? Because there is a puzzle there. Education will tell you, go to school, make money, be comfortable. But somebody who was looked at Ichikopo in our time becomes the wealthiest. What would you say to that?
The school system measures the IQ, the reading and writing skills and mathematical skills. But there are several intelligences. One of them is emotional intelligence, which is what those people that do very well in business have. The capacity to network and to see ideas and opportunities and seize them. But the school system prepares you for reading and writing and just solving problems. It's also a narrow view. So we need to broaden the view of the students so that they understand the several other intelligences. Adversity intelligence, the capacity to handle adversity and setbacks, because they will come in life. So if you are ill prepared, all you know is to pass number 1. When those things come, you not know how to handle it. Like it happened to me. When I couldn't qualify to go to Form 6, I thought that was the end of the world. No, it's part of life. It's part of the training. So I'm telling our children these days that don't be like us. I think our understanding of what success means was narrow. And the place of setbacks that you meet along the way. In fact, we learn more from setbacks than from success. So having that view, a broader view of what life is about, not just being number 1, is critical. And the other difference is that we were prepared for jobs. That's what we were prepared for. We were not prepared to be entrepreneurs who will be able to seize opportunities in the marketplace and find how to meet those needs. We were prepared to wear, like I'm dressed, an executive. But that's not how you build wealth. You build wealth by leveraging on multiple opportunities. In fact, Mr. Zig Ziglar, the motivational speakers in the US used to say, you can get anything in life if you help just enough other people get what they want. So if people are looking for shampoo, produce it and give it to them. So you have multiple leverage. You may have shops in Chingola, meanwhile you live here, in Kasumbalesa. But the job, you are just in one place. So you don't get leverage compared to what entrepreneurship brings to the market.
I want to ask a question. With the vast land that God has given us and the natural resources, in the honesty of your heart, do you think it is fair for Zambia to be borrowing?
In fact, with the land we have, from my perspective, we should even stop mining most of these minerals. Keep them for 1,000 years for future generation. Because what our land can produce is amazing. I'll give you one classic example of one country for the Hass avocados that we are promoting. Mexico, with one crop, which is avocado, Hass avocado, the world-renowned avocado. 2017, 2018, they made 2.9 billion from one crop. And you know the story of Ghana, Pastor Chiluba, as well, of cocoa. That was initiated by a man known as Tete Kwashi in the 1800s. He came as a freed slave and went to Guinea and worked as a laborer in a cocoa field. And after 8 years, he came back to Ghana with nothing except cocoa seeds. And he devoted his life to teaching his people to grow cocoa for 32 years. After that, Ghana became the world's largest producer of cocoa from one land. And we call people like that generational thinkers. So the whole economy in Ghana was anchored on one crop, cocoa. And it earned a lot of foreign exchange on one cocoa. So if we can begin to measure, like on Hass avocados, we have excellent climate here. In fact, it's beginning to heat up now. The temperatures are going up. I hear a number of my colleagues say, temperatures are very high. And I remind them, no, this is a great climate. When temperatures go up, we must go to the field and grow things because they grow faster. You have already system that and the climate that is going to help you, that will work in your favor. Soon, the northern hemisphere will be having snow. Let us grow fresh fruit and fruit and vegetables and export to them. Because once it's snowing, they won't be producing these things outside. So we have excellent climate, and I think that we can produce anything we need. One of the things I was taught many years ago, Pastor, was that we can grow grapes here. At our place, we have a tree that gives us grapes every year.
The same grapes like we find in South Africa?
Yes, it does very well. In fact, December, January, we'll have fruit, and a lot of it. One tree. It has cherries all over the place. So this climate is so good that we can grow anything.
I want to appeal to the government of Zambia, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Chagwa Lungu, the cabinet ministers. We are going to open up something here. Apart from the other seed, and by the way, those of you that have applied through Cabinet TV and you are expecting for the castor seed, we now have the permit. We have everything in place, and by the special grace of God, in the next 2-3 weeks, the trucks will be in Zambia. Like we have said, we will run everything openly. When the trucks are at Chirundu, we will go there with our news team. We'll carry out everything, and we'll keep you posted. What stopped us from planting or from bringing the seed into Zambia is COVID. Now, through the government's help, we are here And by the grace of God, we now have the permit, we have what it takes, and now we are ready to go. But I want to bring something. In the studio here, I called Mr. Bernard Chiwala, and is going to help this nation. Now, I am holding these seeds here, and I've got the orange on the other side. I can't lift it, it's big. But let me just lift this. As Mr. Chiwala was saying, you know, Zambia, you are blessed of the Lord. I always say here that we have no need to be bowing to China, to be bowing to Britain. And I say that without apology, because the first thing that God did, Mr. Chiwala, when he made Adam and Eve, he gave him the responsibility to till the land. Yes. And he said, from the ground you shall eat what you want, until you return to the ground, because out of the ground you were taken, and to the ground you will go. So there is no time of separation between man and ground. And the wealth that we need is in the ground. Here is Mr. Chiwala. We are adding to the list of what you can do. Now, Mr. Chiwala, please explain to my Camnet TV viewers, because some of you who may not have the privilege to buy the castor seed and the other plants that we are bringing, 5 of them, which have high value, that per hectare you'll be making thousands of dollars. Now, in here, we have brought this avocado. You can see this plant. It's only 8 kwacha. Am I right?
8 kwacha.
8 kwacha. Just 8 kwacha of this. This is not the avocado that we have at my grandfather's place in Chinsali. This is a different plant, and I'll tell you why it is different. Mr. Chiwala, do we need a tractor to grow this avocado?
No, you don't.
To prepare fertilizer, everything like we do with maize?
No, you don't.
Do we need that?
No. What you need for the grafted Hass avocado, in fact, it's a world-renowned avocado for 2 reasons. Number 1, it has a long shelf life. Mm-hmm. If it ripens today, within the next 2 weeks, it can remain on a shelf. Mm. And this lends it to be exported far and wide. Mm. And number 2, it's also very rich in oil. We are able to extract a lot of oil from Hass avocado compared to the local variety. Mm-hmm. And the oil from these Hass avocados has many wide applications for cooking, but also in the cosmetic industry. In fact, also at Moriah Gardens, part of the things we are doing out of avocado, which is value addition, is the making of soap. You can make soap using this.
We will come to that.
Yes.
Let's deal with this plant.
Yes.
Because I'm getting now my calculator, Team Camnet, I'm getting my calculator. This plant which I lifted, it's 8 kwacha. If you plant it, how many plants do we need per hectare for this plant? Let's take Camnet TV viewers step by step. How many plants do we need?
The farmers we are working with, we advise them to space them at 5 meters apart. So in a hectare, you will have 400.
Okay, I want to do the mathematics for the people out there. So if you have land, just land, your own traditional or title or whatever, let's change our concept. Per hectare, you have 400 trees.
Yes.
And each of these trees gives you how many fruits per year?
When it matures, you can get between 500 to 1,000 fruits.
Okay, 500 to 1,000 fruits, one tree. Now I'm going to add something here, Mr. Chwala. 400 trees on 1 hectare. I'm going to multiply this by 600 fruits.
Okay.
600, it gives me 240 fruits. Now, this 240 fruits, 240,000 fruits, we say we'll give you the basic of how you can sell it. It goes higher, the fruit, but we deal with how much, about 5
kwacha will be fine.
5 kwacha. So you have 400 trees times 600 fruits per tree. It gives you 240,000 fruits times 5 kwacha per fruit. You have 1.2 million kwacha.
Yeah.
This is per hectare.
Yes.
You don't need a tractor. You don't need a bulldozer. You don't need anything. This is 1.2 million kwacha. Now imagine, dear Zambians, you have 10 hectares, just 10. It's yours. You are dealing with 12 million kwacha.
In fact, it's interesting. There's a colleague of mine, I will not mention his name. He worked abroad in East Africa and heard about Hass, because Hass is famous in East Africa, in Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. And some of the rich people he met there are Hass avocado growers, and they export them. And he had heard and met them. He was a senior banker. When he came back to Zambia and heard about this, he didn't wait. And he came to look for us. He said, I've met the rich people in East Africa grow this crop. And as you know, Kenya is leading Africa in the production and export of Hass avocado. And Uganda is coming up very, very fast.
We will overtake them.
Uganda, at the moment, they have a roadmap, which is a 10-year plan of planting 2 million Hass avocado every year for the next 10 years.
2 million?
Yes. And by 2029, when they will have finished that program, they should be able to put in Uganda's coffer not less than $1.5 billion. That's the plan.
That is even small. Because what I'm saying, Mr. Chwala, we have stopped at 12 million.
Yes.
For 10 hectares.
Yes.
Now, I want to say we multiply by 1,000 serious Zambians who can have 10 hectares.
Yes.
We say we multiply that by 1,000. It's giving me, Mr. Chwala, 12 billion kwacha.
Yes. Divide by 20.
Divide by 20.
To give it in dollars.
It gives you $600 million in the economy.
Yes.
$600 million. So now, why shouldn't Zambians get into this? Why just wait to be a cadre, to be dancing at the airport, to be bakateka ngabayo kuaba pinikira, and to be in... You must forgive me, Mr. Chwala, because I think the people of Zambia, we've been spoon-fed for a long time. This is one reason why we are lazy. One, we want white-collar jobs, and when there are no jobs, you blame the president, you blame the government. Since I became a pastor, yes, governments, they make mistakes. Yes, presidents make mistakes. I have never blamed the government, Mr. Chwala. No, because my monthly money doesn't come from the government. They educated me, they trained me, now I've got to use my brains. And as Zambians, you mean we can't generate this $600 million per year?
We think that is going to happen because there's quite some excitement and people are coming to the table. And also we've been talking with the Avocado Association of Zambia, which began many years back, so that we can have more growers. In fact, 2 months ago, we had prospective buyers coming to Moriah Gardens.
Mm.
They want to import Hass from Zambia to take to India. We don't have the crops.
But here's the deal, Mr. Chwala. This avocado, please tell the nation, because we have to take them step by step so that they know what I preach about, that ubuchushi limokutemwa elo bwaba mu mind.
Yes.
Umuntu nga lilwala mu mind bachwala nangu fyafike ku university takuli abakamuposha elo ubuchushi bwa mu mano takuwa bamuti. Yes. You know bupubata bupola.
Yes.
So when you have this, how many years, if I plant this avocado, it's not ordinary. This is why we have brought it in the studio. If you plant this tree as it is today, how many years will I start harvesting from this?
In fact, when we graft it, we get a mature bearing plant of a Hass and fuse it to a local seed, which we call a rootstock. The flowers will start even in year 1, but you just pluck them out because it doesn't have the stamina to hold the fruit.
Yeah.
So you do that until year 3 when you begin to get the fruits. So in year 3, it will have fruit, which is not a long time. And this fruit will give you fruit for at least 25 years.
So 25 years, you are still harvesting.
You're harvesting. And at 25 years, the practice is you normally chop it 1 meter above ground. It will sprout again and give you fruit another 25 years. So we are talking about an investment that spans beyond 2 generations. So it's a long-term thinking. And the beauty of it is that it shifts the gear from the many crops that we are used to growing that are 90 days to thinking 25 years, which is a major shift, and that's what we need to do. Because when you look at some of the nations across the globe, Japan, for example, even the Chinese, they are long-term thinkers. They would plan 100 years, what they would do. So if we can begin to think about 60 years by planting this kind of thing, it will change our country, it will change generations, it will change whatever we are about. I'll give you another nation. This is Finland. It is a very cold country, but they have more trees in terms of pine trees than we have here. Our pine trees in Zambia take shorter in terms of number of years to mature compared to those people. In fact, double the time that it takes in Finland than here, because it's very cold. But they have more pine trees than we do. Say if a pine matures in 10 years, in Finland it will take 20 years. But they have more pine trees than we do. That doesn't make sense, Pastor, does it? So we need to change our ways and begin to think long term. And do things not that are thinking 3 months, 4 months, that are thinking generations. And that's the key thing personally I want to participate in. Having to raise generational thinkers who are not only thinking about themselves. They will plant things and I will share them and never even see it.
Now, I did that, Mr. Chwala. If you saw that I took 1,000 serious Zambians who can have 1 hectare.
Yes.
That's what we worked on, $600 million. 1,000. Now imagine we have 10,000 Zambians out there. That's $6 billion right there in the economy of Zambia. Which road can't we construct? Which place can't we? Now, this does not even add where you were coming to. There are these things, okay, this is the bochi, and you are producing this.
Yes, we are.
Producing this. Do you know that this bottle in England, it's about 10 pounds just to have this organic honey. And here we are, we have the bees, and you are making beehives, isn't it?
Yes, we make beehives that we use and sell to farmers.
Right here at church, I can have 10 beehives, and I'll still make honey.
Yes, yes, yes.
And the Zambians out there, we are saying the economy is difficult. This is where I get in trouble, especially when I'm preaching, Mr. Chwala.
Yes.
You watch my preaching?
I do with my wife. We watch.
This is where I get in trouble because I come from a poverty-stricken family, but I don't allow poverty to come through my mind. Here's an avocado. If I get 10 of these trees at 800 kwacha, somebody will go and spend 800 kwacha per mishishife instead of avocado.
Yes.
And this is what we call priority.
Yes.
Somebody would go and buy a vehicle.
Yes.
Yes. Instead of investing
Investment, yes.
in this. You see how my thinking goes, Mr. Chua?
I am with you.
So for me, may God raise serious Zambians. May God raise serious Zambians. If you cannot clear the land, you cannot plow, here is a fruit. After 3 years, you start getting money.
In fact, with the beehives, you also go and put them under the shade of the avocados. They help in the pollination process, but you also get honey, so you're getting double. And that's not all. When you get the honey, the honeycomb, and you are doing the processing, which we do at Moria Gardens, there is wax as a byproduct of honey. There are many applications that you can do with the wax. Number one, shoe polish is a byproduct of wax. Mr. Mean, the one we use for dashboard, that's wax. The lipstick that ladies love on their lips, that's wax, which is colorized. Candle itself, that's wax. Cobra for polishing on the floor, that's wax. Can you imagine the number of jobs we can create? So you have Hass avocado here growing, and then the beehives here, and the byproducts that will come from there. Even the crayon, that's wax.
You know, Mr. Chwala, you haven't even talked about what comes out of avocado.
Yes.
We have just calculated the money from the fruit.
From the fruit itself.
But not the finished product.
Yes.
That also has millions of dollars. Yes. Will you explain some of the things that come from avocado? Okay, you eat it, and some of it, what are the usages of it?
It has many industrial applications in terms of value addition that you get out of Hass avocado. The first one that we are working on at Moria Garden is production of avocado soap. Remember I told you when we began that soap is a byproduct of two things, an alkaline and an oil. And then you infuse the extract of avocado into there, because avocado is a very rich, it's a superfood, it has many minerals. So when you infuse it there, that soap, when you use it for cleaning yourself, is wonderful because of the minerals that are available there. So you get an infusion of avocado and squeeze it in, and then as you are making a soap that is from alkaline and together with an oil. And the oil you can get from avocado itself.
That is cooking oil.
You can use one for cooking and also for making soap. And then you can also get the oil for cosmetics that you use for your hair and for your body, for lotion.
And all those are dollars coming in the economy,
Yes.
just within Zambia.
Yes. I'll give you one example. If you go in ShopRite tomorrow to buy avocado oil, a 250 mils of avocado oil costs 91 kwacha. 250 mils. A 2,500 mils of sunflower costs less than 70 kwacha. Avocado oil is 10 times more valuable than sunflower oil. So why are we focusing on sunflower alone when we can make much more, very little, but the price is amazing?
Mr. Director, please open up the lines. You know, my blood runs fast, Mr. Chwala. When I look at the potential that we have, yes. This national project we are in, yes. For things like this,
yes.
It's called the potential within.
Yes.
I believe with all my heart, serious as the government is, or whoever will be there, let me say, Mr. Chwala, if we are serious as a nation, we can give ourselves 6 years to be out of debt. Yes. We can pay back China.
Yes.
We can pay back every debt we owe. But when you have politicians who just want to be fighting for an MPship and moving in a Pajero, naka flag kuntanshero vekele kwati nakalimumulia menshi, you know, that kind of thing I don't tolerate, you know. Yes. We should be able. I always say that, Mr. Chwala, I was teaching with my wife, and we are still teaching that, the signs of a cursed person, the signs of a cursed nation. And one of the signs that God has put is to be ruled by a foreigner. When a foreigner starts doing better than you, yes. An indigenous person, there must be a case. And what we must change is the thinking pattern.
Yes.
Once we change our thoughts, here is this avocado. Apart from it giving us fruits, excuse me, if we have 10 million of this, Mr. Chwala, they will help in climate change.
Completely.
It will help in climate. So, whichever way you look at.
In fact, one area for southern province where trees have been cut and it's very hot and the rainfall pattern has been changing, we can transform that climate. In 3 years, it will be different. And the temperatures will begin to come down and the rainfall pattern will change. It's not just a tree, but it's a fruit. So it's improving your climate, but also it's giving you a fruit that you can sell and also process and get other valuable products out of it. So it's called the green god of the 21st century.
We have this, Mr. Chwala, let me see if I can lift this, it's a bigger one. This orange, what is the difference between this one and the other oranges that we get, small, bitter oranges? They sound like what, Masao? I mean, they taste like what, Masao? What is the difference between this?
It's grafted, but it's also the management. Often when rain season ends, people don't want to put water there and they don't want to fertilize. And fertilization here, I'm not talking about you go buying decompound urea, no. You can make your fertilizer from your backyard using leaves and grass and getting charcoal powder. And this I've only come to appreciate it now. When I was a young boy in Frida with my mother, we used to go Kumabala. And she used to plant pumpkins on a place where the grass has been bent, and it will do very well. That is potash. And as you know, the key elements in fertilizer are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So when you get the charcoal powder and the leaves, dried leaves and grass, and you get, for example, cow dung, and you get topsoil, and mix them in a defined proportion.
Let's pick up this call, Mr. Chwala. Hello. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening, Pastor.
How are you, sir?
Fine. How are you, Pastor Chiluba? And good evening, Mr. Chwala.
Good evening, sir.
Yes. I'm really interested in this program. It's a very good program. If we are to develop as a people in Zambia, I think that is the way to go.
What is your name, sir?
Mr. Lubungu from Kabwe.
Mr.
Lubungu from Kabwe.
Lububu.
Yes, from Kabwe.
Please go ahead and contribute.
Yes, I'm very much interested in this program, especially that I'm one person who likes the agriculture. And I have been imagining what I can do on my 10-hectare land that I got. And I think you have opened me up, and that is the way to go. I will dedicate my 3 or so hectares to that program. And what I would want to find out is how do I get the seed for the plant for avocado? Where are you located? That is the Molaya. Is it Molaya?
Moraya Gardens.
Molaya Gardens, yeah. I'd like to get the details so that I can see how I can get some plans for the project.
What you do, because the nation is big and we may be overwhelmed.
Yes.
Mr. Chiwala is here. Just give us your details, just like those seeds for castor that we are giving. We have 1,450 of you people. Just give us the details. Then we'll tell you if you want avocado, you want this seed, you want that seed. The bottom line is let's have a national vision.
All right.
What you have there, he has 10 hectares, Mr. Chiwala.
Yeah.
10 hectares, that gives him 4,000 trees.
Yes.
4,000 trees times 600. I'm just calculating for you.
Yeah.
For 10 hectares, you have 400 trees per hectare. That gives you, it gives you 2.6 million fruits. Am I right, Mr. Chua? By 600. This is the basic. But he said from 500 to 1,000. But we have taken that 600. Now, 202.4 million fruits in 3 years times 5 kwacha. This is 12 million kwacha, which you would be making after 5 years. I mean, after 3 years.
After 5 years. After 5 years. When the plant matures, yes.
When the plant matures. And this, probably you've been keeping this land for more than 5 years, isn't it?
Yes, I got in 2015. I've been wondering what to do with it, so I've been thinking of giving a 10 hectare, maybe get fruit, the 10 hectare, then the other hectare I do aquaculture, fish farming. So I think I've seen the easiest way to make money now.
I want you to know, Mr. Lumbua.
Or Jive.
Jive.
You can say Jive, yes, Jive.
I can tell you, we've been saying here with my wife, don't sell land. Don't sell land. As Zambians, we are going to make it. And Mr. President, this program should not fail. We must make it. Mr. Chiwalaye is a Zambian. Whatever money he will make, he has no plans to go and bank it in Tokyo. Have you got plans like that?
No, in fact, when I went to study abroad, I finished my exam and graduation today. The next day I was on the plane because I wanted to contribute to my country.
Absolutely.
To help shape and move the country forward.
Yeah.
Because it's a great country.
People of God, Zambians, let's come together. If you cannot have a tractor, you cannot plow, you cannot do this, Mr.
Engineer Chiwala.
Chiwala.
Yes.
This plant, please explain. Even outside my yard, can't I grow it?
You can grow it. All you need is to dig a hole 70 by 70 by 70 and remove. And then you make compost and bring it there because the Hass avocado requires well-drained soil. And we also encourage before you do that, you do a soil analysis to understand the profile of your soil so that you know what is missing and what is there.
But we are going to work with these people, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you don't have to confine yourself on Moraya Gardens, Mr. Chiwala. This Cabinet TV, we are a family of dedicated people.
Yes.
In Solwezi, Monze, they are hearing.
Yes.
So when they bombard me, you don't have to say, no, I'm resting.
No.
We must change the face of Zambia.
We must. We are inspired by Tete Kwashi. How single-handedly God used him to shape the destiny of that country. That Iso economy was resting on his shoulders, and cocoa that he planted and inspired his people. We can do likewise. And in fact, here we have several things that we can do. The Hass avocado, the honey, the cashew nut. And you know something about cashew nut that I learned? We taught Mozambique to grow cashew nuts.
But they have gone ahead of us.
As we speak today, they are ahead of us.
I know.
Because we like to begin and stop.
Yeah.
They came to learn from us. And now, because they moved it, they are far ahead.
ComNet TV viewers, keep calling, and may God bless you. We have an opportunity here. Let's come together. Instead of us fighting one another, is Bemba, is Tonga, is Lozi, is what, we can do, and we are going to do better in our backyard. You don't have to hack someone. You don't have to kill somebody because you just want to be a councillor. Get a plot, 10 hectares like this brother of mine in Kabwe has.
Yes.
We have just calculated. It would give him after 4 years, 12 million kwacha. Now 12 million, hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor. Good evening, Mr. Swar.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to contribute something on the program.
Yes, sir. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Mr. Mvula from within Osaka.
Mr. Mvula, please go ahead and contribute.
Yeah, I just want to appreciate you, Pastor, for the good work you are doing. You are making a difference in Zambia. And we are learning a lot from what you are teaching and everything you are doing. Please keep it up. It's just an encouragement, because sometimes when you are doing something someone has never done before, it looks new to people. So sometimes they criticize. You know, people have made a difference in everywhere in this world, even in the Bible. Those people broke the rules. What I mean is that people who did something that someone has never done before. And the community is one of them. The programs you are bringing and everything is unique. So you keep it up. You are a blessing to this nation, and you are impacting knowledge. You are just doing something unique. We really love it, and may God continue to keep you so that you can impact many lives.
Amen.
We appreciate you so much, and keep going, keep moving. Everything you are doing is very positive, and we can see the love that you have for this nation, the passion, and the future of this nation. You are calling for good things to come. You are not one of those people who just want to have everything on the table. You really want to help this nation. So we thank God for you. It's just an encouragement. Thank you so much. Keep it up, Pastor.
Thank you, Mr. Mvula. You've heard what he has said, Mr. Chwa, that we can make it.
Yes.
There is nothing difficult to this. Here is honey. Here is honey. Nicely packaged by this man seated here. Nice label. Everything. I was at pain when I saw a certain foreigner. I won't mention Mr. Chwa, unless they sue this TV. I don't have money to pay now. I saw a foreigner come with machine here in Zambia. He has started exporting honey from Winilunga in millions of dollars.
Yes.
And they are our people. Yes. You find him with 20 liters trough. He's only asking for 70 kwacha.
Yes.
But from 70, I mean, it's the same 20-liter trough. Here is a foreigner who is making over $3,000 from the same. And sometimes the government looks and watches. This is why I say, Mr. Chwala, please, government, Mr. President, the cabinet, empower Zambians.
Yes.
And this, I wanted to use a very word which I like using, but there is some kind of pain by these foreign banks. Things like this, Mr. Chwa, if you go to say, give me money, I am going to pay back. They will ask you for collateral, but you are starting. How do you think Zambia is going to develop? Here is a plant, 80 kwacha. This is 80 kwacha. If I want to do 1,000 of these, I need 80,000 kwacha.
You mentioned that. I'll give you an example.
Let's pick up this call, then you'll come, Mr. Chwala. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, I want to make a contribution to Bernard Chwala's comments and appearance on TV, on your TV session.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Chivelushi Musongole.
Chivelushi, from where?
He was my lecturer.
From Lusaka West.
He was your lecturer?
He taught me engineering mathematics.
Oh.
Yes, Bernard, I just want to commend you for the good work you are doing with Hearts Avocado. I've been to your place, and I know, and I've seen that you are doing great things at your place there. But I think one of the things that we need to focus on is to give more literature on avocado, growing of Hearts Avocado, because people may think that it's just a plant you put in the soil and grows on its own. People need to read about it. They need to know the diseases that can attack the crop, and they need to know management of the crop for them to really achieve the numbers that you are talking about. So it will be very important to advise all of us that we need to read about the Hearts Avocado. It just doesn't grow like any other thing. It needs management. It is a scientific crop, and therefore science needs to be involved in the way we grow that crop. But lastly, I just want to commend you, Bernard, and you are a very courageous young man, I must say, and you inspire a lot of us. Thank you very much for appearing on this program, and I hope that many other people across the country will be inspired. I listened to the pastor there saying that we can pay debt in 6 years. It's very true. People must look at Uganda, Kenya, and see how much they are making out of avocado. They must see this. The problem with us Zambians is that we don't seem to know what we have. We have a lot of land, we have a lot of water, and a heart is a tropical fruit. And therefore, there is no need to waste time. Even those cadres fighting on the streets, please move away from the streets. Go and plant avocados. You make your own money. You contribute to the well-being of this country.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Chivelushi. It's good to hear your lecturer.
Professor Chirush taught me engineering and mathematics in 1988.
Can you imagine that?
He mentored us, and he's a lovely professor.
Professor, I need you also. Where you left with this man, you begin with me. We must be able to go through. And we are so grateful. People of Zambia, please, I beg you by the message of God. You see, if I was a selfish person with my wife, I would just keep Mr. Chwala to himself. But you know the passion. This thing, Mr. Chwala, the reason why some people die, it's because they are too selfish. They want to bring Zambia to themselves. Your 10 hectares, like that man, my 10 hectares, we can turn Zambia around. We don't have to blame the government. You wanted to say something before we take the text messages.
Yes. We have materials to help the people we are working with, the farmers, in terms of the whole programming of Hearts Avocado, in terms from the day you plant it to harvest. The amount of water that it will require per day.
What Professor was talking about, yeah.
In terms of disease management, in terms of pruning. I need to mention here also that when you plant those 400 in a hectare, you also need to put around it a windbreak. And we encourage people to plant pine trees because they grow fast. And the idea is that you break the wind, because when you have so much wind during the time of fruiting, the fruits, those that are flowering, will drop. So you will have less. So someone will say, no, I didn't get the amount you were talking about. It's because as the wind are coming, they'll be blowing the flowers. So you need a windbreak around a plantation for us avocados. Not only that, you need to receive a certain amount of sunlight per day. So when you are establishing a plantation for us, it must be established in the north-south direction so that there's maximum sunshine from the east. But if you do it east-west, those at the back will not receive enough sunshine. So those are the scientific things that you need to understand. More importantly also, is the time of pollination for the flowers to come. As avocado is a type A type of avocado, it opens at a certain time for it to receive the necessary material for it to fertilize. And then closes, and then it will come and open the next day. So next to us, there are type B avocados that we encourage you to plant, so that when it is male today and tomorrow female, the other one is complementary. So that's what Professor Musongole meant when he said that it's scientific. You need to understand the science around it, and it's very, very key.
The good thing is that Mr. Director, we need to have some more minutes so that we will delay the news. Dear Camnet TV viewers, this is very important. It's a national dream. We must be able to get to this. Write your text and call us. Here, Mr. Chwala, in Southern Province, you mentioned about Southern Province. This can grow, isn't it?
It's a tropical fruit. It will grow everywhere.
So
this is its native land.
My goodness. Let's have the text messages. You know, my heart bleeds, Mr. Chwala, when I see that we are wallowing in poverty when God has blessed us with this land. Good evening, Pastor and Mr. Chwala. We as Zambians do produce, however, we get discouraged because we don't have connections to the market. Is there a mechanism in place where avocado can be readily sold? Okay, Mr. Chwala will answer this, and thank you, Mr. Director. We'll come to it. This is very important. Thank you, Mr. Director. Let him answer this. Don't give us another, the market.
Pastor Chiluba, as we speak, there is a shortage of Hass avocado globally for the next 15 years.
For the next 15 years?
For the next 15 years. It's a superfood. It improves your health. So people are looking for this fruit all over the world. Even now, as we speak, in South Africa, there's a shortage. The Hass avocado in South Africa currently is going not for less than 25 rands. One.
25 rands?
Yes.
Why would we sell it for 5 kwacha here?
We're just beginning to build the market. But I must say here, like I indicated earlier, we've had some people out of this country come, and specifically India, looking for Hass avocado. And they've asked us to give them up to 10 tons per day. There's another company out of the Middle East needing 100 tons per month. We don't have. The key thing now is for growers so that we can together aggregate and put them on the containers and ship them.
Give us some text messages. I believe, Zambia, you are listening. We are just being practical here. Good evening, men of God. I'm humbled for this project which you are presenting. I'm interested in the project. I've acquired 100 hectares in which I am to do the keeping of bees. I need beehives. How much is the cost? This is one way of eradicating dependence syndrome among our people. This is Yove Lungu in Chama District, Muchinga Province. May God bless you. I like people like this.
Yes.
Rajwala, he has acquired 100 hectares. Think of how many beehives he will put there.
It's amazing. If he can just have 1,000 beehives, 1,000 beehives,
Talk to me.
Pastor Chiluba, in a year, he will make no less than 2 million kwacha from 1,000.
And 1,000 can even sit on less than 10 hectares, isn't it?
There's a way in which the modern way of keeping the beehives, you make like insaka, and you have like cages where several of them are planted. You don't have to put one of them in a tree. There has been improvement as well in terms of keeping beehives. And this is a technology that we've learned from Tanzania. So you build insaka with thatched houses and so on, and then you put them under.
So
And
in
then
there
the-
you can accommodate
You can
like
have
how many
several of
cages?
them. You can have 300, you can have 200, whatever you want, depending on the size of your insaka.
Can you imagine?
And the bees will come. The key thing is that you get the wax. And we also, when you buy from us the beehives, we are able to give you the wax. And the wax is what will attract the bees. And they will come. And once you have your honey, you don't have to come to us for wax, because they will leave the wax in your honey as you make it.
Jehovah God, give us, please keep on calling, CamNet TV viewers. Let's make this a national agenda. We don't have to just wait for the government. In a situation where someone has land, hello? In a situation where someone has land, but no money to buy the plants, does the company give the plants so that one pays in installments?
We have those arrangements with several of the farmers we are working with, where they pay in installments. So it's available as part of the start, so we can encourage more growers.
And
They pay.
also, what Mr. Chiwala said, my wife had died, Mr. Chiwala, because of this national thing. The time I went to see the president at State House, we just took this vision of agriculture, and you heard him, he was so clear. Though some people, would have, different views. They think each time you go to the president, they don't know that we can help the president, we
Correct.
can help this nation.
Yes.
And we basically went there to do that. One of the things that I want is that question. If the president can help us, the government can help.
Yes.
The people of Zambia
Yes,
put these plants
in the ground.
in the ground. Even the government, they should be able to buy.
Yes.
Minister of Agriculture, that's why they are there.
Yes.
Get some money. You are not losing, you are investing in your own people. After all, Mwebo Mukalaisa na Mkuma tax.
Yes.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, what's your name and where you calling from?
Good evening, Pastor. You are doing a good job. I'm Siruimba. So I'm calling from Kiranga, Lusaka.
Mr. Siluimba, please go ahead and contribute. I'm with Mr. Chiwala here.
Yes, please. That is a very good program. I have a small nursery here.
Yes, sir.
I've been dealing with the ordinary avocado seedlings. And all of a sudden, people have been saying, no, we need hearts. Now I have a problem of where to get the trials to go into hearts. I wanted to find out if I produce the hash seedlings, can I take them to Mr. Chiwala? He can buy that, or he can connect me to the farmers who will be growing avocado hash.
Mr.
Right now, I have been dealing with local varieties. People now are shunning they have written about the hash.
You should bring the ordinary to me, then discuss the house with Mr. Chiwala. Yes, Mr.
Yeah, right now
Yeah.
I have about 300 the ordinary.
Yeah.
But now I would like to
Sorry about that. But you heard the question.
Yes, I did. Mr. Suluimba, we can work with you so that you are able to graft your rootstock that you have so that you can have Hass. That we can do. And if there are buyers coming, we can also connect you to people that are buying Hass. There's a huge demand for this Hass avocado. And we think that there's a market and it's growing. So there's no problem, and we encourage you to grow more, and we can help you graft them so that you produce the Hass that people are looking for. But let me make a point here, Pastor Chilwa.
Yes, sir.
We also are selecting the local varieties that we are working with at Moriah Gardens, which will serve as a rootstock for the Hass. And the reason is we want to trace the genetics of the avocado, that this one came from this one, other than all over the place. And then we can even patent to say, this is original, and give it a name, like they call this one Hass. We can also give it a name, that this is its source, this is the rootstock. So at Moriah Gardens, we are also grafting the local varieties, those that are very, very good. And the idea is we will establish also plantation for the local ones and be able to use them as a source of a rootstock, but also we can produce other products out of them. Number 1, soap. Number 2, shampoo. Number 3, air conditioner. Number 4, lotion. Number 5, oil. Except that its oil content is less. But those that we are picking are very good, and we want to propagate them. So we can work with Mr. Sulimba. We can give him contacts so that we are able to help him to graft the local one that he has into Hass. That is no problem.
And you know, Tim Kamnet, my lovely wife and our daughter Mpundu, we visited Moriah Gardens with Mr. Chiwala. We've been talking with him, but we were talking about your selfless giving to this nation, the ideas. You know, if it's some people, that's why I said some people, they die early because of stinginess. If the ideas that you have, you kept them to yourself, you just want my children, my nieces to be rich, so that but you are not helping the nation. But we found vehicles there at your place as we were driving out, others were coming. The point is, if only God can raise Zambians, and I know they are in thousands, if only God can raise Zambians who are selfless, without looking at tribe, region, or what, if we come together without looking at parties, PF, UPND, what, those things are irrelevant. They are irrelevant, and they will not develop our nation. They will not. But when we come together, I say, I'm going to take these trees, Southern Province, and you pastors, by the way, tomorrow my wife and I will be talking about this, how we have segmented Mr. Chiwala. We want to empower the miners, ex-miners, and the pastors there countrywide. Yes. And tomorrow, my wife and I will be mentioning figures. This is part of the project. Yes. Because if the whole nation, Mr. Chiwala, each one of us, we have 1,000 trees, and we are 1 million people, which is possible.
Yes.
1 million people, may I go back to the calculator, please forgive me.
Yes.
1 million people, Zambians, producing 600 fruits. I mean, 1 million trees, producing 600 fruits. We are talking about 600 million times 5. We are talking about $3 billion. Now, this, Mr. Chiwala, I don't understand why we can't hit this.
We can.
Tulelomba nendalama nationally afuira poshiwa atina tupoka ka Eurobond ka kuzesco 500 million. Na tupoke fimwefi twila venga na panyuzi fileta fyo mutima ukalina. It's an embarrassment, to say the least.
Yes.
We should just come together, Mr. Chiwala, and go on flat out, and we will do this.
Yes. One of the key things that I must mention is God's promise to Abraham in Genesis 12, verse 3. And the seventh one, God said to Abraham, all the peoples of the earth will be blessed through
you.
And we are heirs to the promises God gave to Abraham through our Lord Jesus Christ. So we should begin to see ourselves as channels through whom the blessings of God can flow to the nations. That is a game changer.
Oh, Mr. Chwala, you've blessed me, and I'm sure the countries. Please give us some cause, and we've delayed the news a bit. This is very important. And give us some text messages, Mr. Director. We need to look at this. Good evening, Pastor Chuba and Engineer Chwala. I'm an extension officer in the Luapula province, and with what I am learning, I feel we may partner so that you may teach my farmers other than growing cassava only. Please, may I be considered as you embark on large-scale farming. Oswald Kunene Mansa. But Oswald, God bless you. Mr. Director, put that number where everyone should be able to channel their blessings. No, not this one. Just type it. I think it's on the middle, because all of you that are coming through this program, castor and other crops, there are 5 that we have to offload, and this year before the rain starts, Mr. Chwala will be there to help the whole nation. Use that number on the middle, plus 260-962-965-883. Please write a text on that number and we'll be able to pick it up. Let's become one Zambia, one nation. We can overtake Uganda, can't we?
Oh, yes.
We can overtake Kenya.
Kenya lead Africa, but they don't have as much water as we do, number one. The landmass of Kenya is smaller than here.
Is it?
So in terms of advantage, we already have a comparative advantage. All we need to do is to start.
We are starting, Mr. Chwala. We have started.
Yes. Yes.
Keep on registering. Let's have the text messages. This is very important. My good friend Bernard, I am your disciple of Has Avocado. Zambians need to hear such knowledge. Knowledge is power. Continue empowering Zambians with knowledge. We have one disciple there.
Oh, we thank God.
And God should bless the Zambians. Give us another scripture, another text, Mr. Director. Engineer Chwala is immaculate and has always thought outside the box. From Engineer Mufalo. You know him?
Engineer Mufalo taught me how to design a biogas digester.
Sure.
A biogas digester is a technology that you can use to throw in wastewater from the toilet, from the kitchen, from cow dung, and produce gas. I went and saw it with my own eyes about 4 years ago in Solwezi. They are piping methane gas from a sewage plant, taking it to the customers for cooking.
Engineer Mufalo.
Mufalo is a brilliant engineer.
You'll be my client on Camnet TV. Me, I like people who think.
Yes, he's an amazing guy.
You see, we need that professor. We need all this.
Yes.
I'm telling you, Zambia has got potential.
Yes. Yes.
We can recall all the people who are working 5 jobs in America. Someone is a doctor, is cleaning plates. They are making 3-4 jobs. With this kind of ideas, we can call them back.
Yes.
Here is, what is this, Mr.?
That is organic chili sauce. And it's the most loved for of our products is chili sauce.
Chili sauce. Is this hot?
It is?
I like hot stuff, but
it is very hot.
Not to make me cry.
It is very hot. In fact, I need to mention, yesterday, Pastor, I bought a tomato paste from ShopRite.
Mm.
I read the label.
Mm.
It's from Egypt.
Really?
We have tomato that goes to waste in this country. And I've been telling some of the farmers, come to Moriah, we can teach you how to process tomato paste. It's a simple technology.
Mm.
So that you will do two things.
Mm.
When you convert your fresh tomato into a paste or a sauce,
Mm.
you package it like this.
Mm.
You have a shelf life of 1 year. Number one. Number two, you will determine the price.
Mm.
And like what happens when they take the fresh tomatoes at Soweto to sell, they find there's a clique there of very powerful people who control the market there. They'll tell the farmers who've spent time growing it, this is the price. And I'm saying to the farmers, we need to begin to add value to what we are doing.
And it's more profitable
It's more
than
profitable.
just selling tomatoes like this.
For tomatoes, the fresh one, you have to sell them quick because they'll go bad.
Mm.
But if you package it like this,
Mm.
you've added 1 year from the day you package it. And you determine the price.
Mm.
It changes the ballgame.
And how much is this, Mr.?
This chili sauce is 25 kwacha.
Now look at this, 25 kwacha. This, how many tomatoes can go in here? Oh Jehovah, we need help, Mr. Chiwala.
Yes.
I'm telling you, we need help. Those of you that are saying, Pastor, I've got land, and let's work together as a team. And we are going to ask Mr. Chiwala here to come back and educate the nation. Because for me to just take him to my home village in Chinsali, he's just going to educate my uncle and my sisters.
Yes.
But on Camnet TV, Mr. Chiwala, as you saw, somebody from Chama,
Yes.
and others who haven't called,
Yes. Yes.
they are watching in Senanga. The whole country is watching. And if only God can help us to put our heads together,
yes.
we will make it. This nation, we were born for greatness, Mr. Chiwala,
Yes.
and I will never stop talking about that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't need to go to America to become great.
Yes.
Right here.
Yes. Yes. In fact, we just need to embrace the creation mandate God gave Abraham. He says, go and rule over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living creature. We are to dominate. That's the mandate we have, and manage the earth responsibly for future generation. And that mandate has been given to us.
Let me rehearse with my wife and the government. When I say the government, I want to get permission from the council so that those who live in Lusaka, you can come and teach them in this hall.
All right.
So that those who want to buy and everything, let's get organized.
Yes.
Because if we wait for December, it's too far.
Yes. Yes.
If I get this plant, I put it in the ground today, 3 years from now I'll start harvesting.
Yes.
So why wait for next year?
Yes. We need to start now.
We need to start, and that's how my mind thinks.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Yes.
Well, Mr. Chiwala, let me get some few messages. Please give me some few messages before we close. Good evening, sir. I'm Emmanuel Kaira from Undola, Tuapia. Sir, I just want to thank you for this interesting program. Na tolamo amano naine. As young as I am, may God Almighty be with you, be with us, and make us strong and work together. Thank you, sir, and good night. Thank you so much. In fact, these young people, good evening, Pastor and Engineer Chiwala. We thank God for your brilliant ideas. Please empower us Zambians. I need those avocado. I have 4 hectares, Mrs. Mwamba in Kasama. You know these 4 hectares. We said how many trees. Let's take up this, Pastor Chiluba and Mr. Chiwala. You have given me a big challenge to look for a bigger portion of land. Being poor in a country like Zambia is actually sin. I like this.
Dr. Trevor Ngoma.
Dr. Trevor Ngoma, he has just hit the nail, and we are not going to go beyond this text. That's what I say about Bachwala. Ubuchushi kutemwa. Elo bwaba mumutwe. This is why, sorry to say this, please, I'm teaching, forgive me. You find somebody who is physically challenged is more rich and doing more things, which somebody who is well able bodied cannot do. So I say poverty is in the mind, the way we think. And once we begin to transform ourselves, like the doctors said, Mr. Ngoma, Mr. Chiwala, we don't need to be poor.
No.
But you find these women married, single, they are going to dance by airport. No issue, but that's time wasted.
Yes.
They can do something productive.
Correct.
Uko ayaba kateka baba pepeka. Mpeni kofiefi. Uko ayama ozisa mpaba pepeka. Vena wafa afyo tuma 25 kwacha. Mufirek. Na mukula. Elo kukula tabali shapo ngoma. Come out of this. I mean, this is not good, Mr. Chiwala. Because when I see cadres, the way they do this is why even in Zambia, Mr. Chiwala, a person like me who talks, one day bakubika koku UPND, mailo ku PF, bakubika koku MMD, but I've gone to a level where I say, place me where you want, but I know what I want to get out of life.
Yes.
And there are Team Camnet out there, Mr. Chiwala.
Yes.
We will make this.
Correct.
Please, your last words, and encourage these people so that we can see what we can do going forward.
Well, HAS is an idea whose time has come. So we are inviting farmers. We have learned to participate. There is an association that administers the development of HAS avocado in Zambia. You can become a member, and then you'll have access to information. We'll be able to give you guidelines on how to plant, how to prepare the land, and be able to work. And then work together to collectively collect the HAS avocados, particularly for the export market, so that we can participate in what's happening. This HAS avocado, there's a shortage globally for the next 15 years. So let us enter in and participate. Thank you.
And when you say for the next 15 years, annually they need this.
Annually they need this for cosmetic purposes, as a food, and several other things. And also here, we'll make those products. So we are teaching farmers how to make avocado soap. And then you blend it like we've done here and put it on a shelf to make avocado shampoo, how to make avocado oil for cooking, and also for air. So
and let me tell you, Mr. Chiwala, I must send this warning to the government and governments that would be, once Zambians go to the level of making shampoos, making this, we should deliberately enact a law not to be importing certain things. Because if you can make this honey as you are making it, why import organic honey? And who is going to take this? Like you said, in Europe, I was in Scotland. It's so cold. They can't have things like this. But we are there. So as government, Mr. Chiwala, we need to empower our people. And we are so grateful, Mr. Chiwala, with that professor and that lecturer, all those lecturers of yours, I need them on this. Whoever can help this nation, Mr. Chiwala, let's come together.
He's also an HAS avocado grower.
Who?
The professor.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
Can you imagine this? No, we need to come together, Mr. Chiwala, my wife and I, again.
Thank you.
If we can change someone's life within this year, next year, 10 years from now, they will say thank you for CAMNET.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate for the opportunity to come on CAMNET.
And please greet your wife.
Thank you.
Not forgetting to thank your daughter who is in the studio with us.
Yes.
We are so grateful. I'll call on you from time to time. This is how much?
It's 40 kwacha.
40 kwacha. This is how much?
25 kwacha.
25 kwacha. And this is 8 kwacha.
8 kwacha.
8 kwacha. I'm saying 8 kwacha.
8 kwacha.
Timwaisa sangama kiusi kukamneta today Friday 8 kwacha. Camnet TV, keep watching Camnet TV. Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel. May God bless you.
Thank you.